Hi, my name is Dana and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some graphic novels that are perfect for someone who hasn't read a whole lot of graphic novels before. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form an expert in graphic novels or comics or anything. I've read quite a bit recently in the past few years that I've really enjoyed, but I think getting into it can feel really daunting if you don't really know what style you like or how to read them. So I wanted to share a few that I think are really great if you haven't read a whole lot and you want to get into them more, or or it's close to the end of the year and you haven't met your reading goals and you want to cram in some really quick reads, and I think graphic novels are perfect for that. So I'm going to start with a few that are younger in age category. So these first two are definitely middle grade reads, and I think middle grade is a really great place to start if you've not read a whole lot of graphic novels before, because A, they're meant for a younger reader, so the actual reading capacity is a little bit easier. B, the themes are really fun and enjoyable, even if they're heavier topics. And C, they tend to not have too many panels. So when you see a comic, they're typically in boxes of art, and you consume the story by reading through the comic panels. Whereas graphic novels meant for middle grade students tend to not have as many of those really kind of, where there's a lot more to actually read through and a lot more pictures. So they're a little bit more like, say, a picture book in essence. So the first one that I want to recommend is Stargazing by Jen Wang. So this is a middle grade graphic novel. This follows Christine, who is Chinese American, and a new girl moves in next door to her house, and her parents are helping her out because they go to the same church. And Christine finds this girl Moon to be pretty weird. Not just that she's weird, she's very eccentric, and her mother is a single mom and she kind of lets her do things that Christine's parents don't, like paint her nails and listen to certain types of music, and Christine's parents are a little bit more strict with her. And Moon has these visions and she sees these godlike characters in her head, and Christine is like, that's weird. And so they form a relationship and a friendship that's really sweet, and I don't want to spoil what happens at the end, but I really liked Jen Wang's art style, and overall this is a really sweet and heartwarming tale of friendship. And I also really love a lot of middle grade graphic novels are really doing great things of sharing more diverse stories, and I highly recommend this one. It definitely made me cry a bit. Jen Wang also had a more popular graphic novel called The Prince and the Dressmaker, and that one has a lot more hype behind it, but I think this one has a little bit more of a heartfelt message. But that one has a really beautiful queer story, and if you are looking for something that's a little bit more historical and romance focused, I would go there. The next one is Pilu of the Woods by Mai K. Nguyen. So this one I read earlier this year and it really touched my heart. So this follows Willow, who loves the woods outside of her home and goes out there on adventures all the time. And after her mother has passed away, she goes into the woods hoping that she'll be able to find the willows, and she makes a little friend who is a woodland spirit. And she's helping the woodland spirit get back to her family. And it's a really sweet story of grief and how young children can experience trauma through the loss of a parent. And it was really, really sweet, and the art style is really gorgeous of, children not necessarily knowing how to process intense emotions. The Willow character, she sees her intense emotions as little, almost like little monsters, and they're coming for her, and it's really impactful and I love the art style as well. It's really beautiful. So the next two I would consider more in the YA section. So this is the Avantgardes. Okay, so this one was created and written by Carly Usden, illustrated by Noah Hayes, and who's the other one? And colored by Rebecca Nolte. So this follows a girl who goes to this new school. I believe it might be a college, actually. Yeah, she might be dorming here. Okay, it's definitely college. So it's college, but I would definitely say it's YA readable. So this one, she goes to this new college, and she used to be a basketball player, but she's not anymore after an injury, I believe, and that she gets recruited to this basketball team that's kind of like full of misfits, and the whole team is really fun and diverse and dynamic, and this is also highly queer and just really sweet. I need to pick up the second volume of this because it was such a quick and fun read that I think if you love like a good YA contemporary, especially one that has like sports or, you know, it has a queer cast of unlikely heroes, this one is so fun and not one that I think gets a lot of hype. So the next one is one that obviously is super hype because it's a Miss Marvel Volume 1. I have not read a ton of Marvel or DC comics, even though like I love all of the movies, and I think if you're like me and you haven't but you love the movies and you want to find like a good fun place to jump in, I would go with Miss Marvel. This has a Muslim heroine, and I think it's getting a TV show adaptation on Disney Plus, which is great. And it's also like a really good spot because you don't need, it's a volume 1, you don't need a ton of backstories on other properties of Marvel, because sometimes like you go into a volume 1 but you should know like who all these other people are. So if you have no recollection of Marvel, you're good. You should know who kind of Captain Marvel is and who these people are, but she's living in this world as like a regular teenager who gets powers and assumes the identity of Captain Marvel, but people then quickly realize she's not Captain Marvel, and she's always looked up to Captain Marvel, and it's set in Jersey City, and we have her friends and the boys she likes, and it's all very, very cute, and I think, again, another like great teen YA pick. Okay, so the next two are definitely maybe more adult readers. Not that I think the content is adult in that not big of a way. Like there might be cursing and some like sexiness to it, but it's not like a lot of sex on the page or anything that's vulgar. So the first one is actually high fantasy. So if you're like a fantasy buff reader, I think you should check this one out. It's based on Critical Role, which is a role-playing game that's inspired by, is it D&D? No. It's one of those like big games. Clearly I was never into that, so I don't know anything about Critical Role, but I really enjoyed the like origin story of it. So it follows each of the first few comics in this bind up, which is graphic novel volume 1, follow the origin story of these characters. And so so you kind of get this intro of like, here are them as like fully realized characters from Critical Role. Here's them as kind of like these like teenish characters. And then obviously this first comic, we're getting just these two's character story. And you kind of see all of these people meet, and there's all these different conflicts that they're all dealing with, but we watch as the volume connects them through and they all meet up and end up having to work together. So we have like an elf, a troll, a gnome, and a dragonborn sorcerer. It's like so high fantasy and so fun, and was perfect like early January, February read for me. So the last graphic novel that I'm recommending is Motor Crush Volume 1. This one is created by Brendan Fletcher, Cameron Stewart, and the art is by Babs Tarr. So this one is like a futuristic world where it's kind of like Fast and the Furious, except there's this drug that people use for their machines, like their bikes. And so the bikes, this like drug is like the biggest hot commodity and is illegal, and there's like street racing and people soup up their cars. But the drug is literally for the machine, not for people. And the main character of this is addicted to the like drug that's meant for machines, and you don't know why and what is up with her. So she's also queer, she's a lesbian, and this story is just so exciting and energetic, and the art is so fun. The art is a little bit sexy if that's like not your thing. Just gonna warn you that like but it's really, really pretty, and I have some of Babstar's art. It's like a Loki print, and it's so fun. I think if you really like high octane kind of adventure and action, this one is perfect. And it also has like a really great father-daughter relationship on the page, and volume 2 was equally as fun. This was actually recommended to me. I went to Free Comic Book Day a couple years back, and this was recommended by one of the comic book sellers, and I picked it up because he recommended it, and I flew through it and loved it. So I need to check out to see if they have a volume 3 out. Same with Vox Mechanica. I need to see if there's a volume 2, but yeah, I really, really like this one, and I think I haven't seen it get like too much hype outside of like any comic book world people, so this one is a must read for me. Did I just drop all of the books and my laptop on the floor? You sure bet I did. So those are the 5 graphic novels that I really recommend if you've not read a lot of graphic novels recently and you want to get back into it, B, if you've just not read any at all, or C, if you're looking for something a little bit lighter and easier to traverse. I think some graphic novel series are so long and it's hard to like commit to them, but also it's hard to know what you'll actually like. So, you know, those are 5 that I've really enjoyed, and if you are really into graphic novels, please recommend some to me, you know, kind of a bit of what I like based on those 5. Definitely would love to do more graphic novel content in the future. I haven't been super into reading them, but I've just bought a whole lot recently, and I'm excited to dive in, especially before 2021. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and